I know virtually nothing about this family on purpose. They told me a little bit, but I'm going to ask them again. So you can see how the RBI can be used right from the very beginning. And first, I'm going to be doing the eco map, and you'll kind of follow along and see how this works. And after the eco map, then we get into the actual RBI. Okay? All right. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
So thank you for coming in. The purpose for our getting together today is first for me to understand what all your resources are, so that when we're working with you, we know who we can call upon or who's already involved in your life. And then we'll go through the day, through your day, to find out how things are going with your family, so that at the end of it you can pick goals to work on. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. All right. If there's anything that you don't want to say, don't say it. Or lie, I'll never know the difference. We should be done in a couple of hours. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So let's start with Jason and Sarah. You guys live in the same home, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Who else lives in the home with you?
Our daughter and our dog.
Okay, what's your daughter's name?
Alyssa.
How do you spell it?
Alyssa.
Okay. And how old is Alyssa?
She's 14 months.
Okay, and she's in early intervention?
Yes.
And why is she in early intervention?
So she was born with a bunch of abnormalities and spent the first 7.5 months in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So she was born at University of Maryland, then transitioned to Mount Washington for another month and a half. And so she came home. She was delayed with a lot of her, gross motor skills, fine motor skills.
What are gross motor skills?
So she was behind in terms of crawling, doing all the I guess, this is our first baby, so I don't know exactly what they're supposed to be doing until we kind of see it in our own daughter.
Yeah.
But she was behind in all that. She was slow to, do all that. She basically on her back, the hospital, or sitting up and not really doing a whole lot.
Okay, so she was born with some conditions that have resulted in her being behind. Is that right?
Yeah.
Was it ever a name given to like a diagnosis?
They never really figured that out. We did some. They actually paid for a full genome testing to try and figure out what was going on, because she had so many what they call midline deformities. She had an omphalocele, which is where your intestines and whatnot are not enclosed within your stomach wall, and then that usually is associated with having other abnormalities as well. So she had a cleft lip and palate, and she developed an aortic coarctation right before she was born. She had a left congenital diaphragmatic hernia. So she had a lot of lung issues. Those are usually associated with some more serious diseases, I guess.
Yeah, syndromes. They
Yes.
associate a lot of those with syndromes.
So they were looking for a syndrome, but they didn't find
They
it.
haven't found
everything.
any.
So it all had, well, not all, but it had a lot to do with midline deformities or things hadn't finished forming.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So we had a lot of concerns that she might not be there mentally.
Yeah.
She was behind to begin with, so they wanted to, doctors, they want to know why things are going on. So they tested it, and she had a couple small mutations, single gene mutations, but they don't account for anything that would associate with these kind of things.
Got it.
So who knows?
Yeah. It's Alyssa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
That's right.
And what's the dog's name?
Maddie.
And what kind of dog is this?
She's a miniature golden doodle.
Oh yeah, nice.
Cute, friendly little dog.
Yeah.
Loves to jump up on her OT and PT friends that come over.
Okay, so where do you guys live?
We live in Columbia.
Okay, and did you grow up there?
No.
No.
Neither
Okay.
of us did.
So Jason, let's start with your family. Are your parents still alive?
Yes.
Are they together?
Yes.
Okay. So Jason's parents, and where are they?
They're up in South Jersey, right outside of Philadelphia.
Okay. And how often do you talk to them?
Not as much as our mom would probably like us to.
Yeah.
Once a week or so,
Okay.
I'd say.
All right.
They come down periodically. My dad's usually pretty busy working.
Mhm.
My mom will come down.
Okay.
Yeah,
She was just down here this weekend.
Oh yeah. Will they take care of Alyssa without you guys being there?
So we've kind of taught them to, but for the most part, we'll get to it. Sarah's mom was kind of trained to take care of all of Alyssa's issues. She has a trach,
Yeah.
which is the big issue that you have to kind of be able to put it back in, be able to suction her, that sort of thing. And
Right.
she has an NG tube as well, so
Okay.
she has a lot of vomiting issues and that.
Mhm.
So my mom and dad aren't really trained for it, but they kind of know what's going on. So
Yeah. Okay.
We'll let them come down and watch her, but it's still, nice to have someone who knows what's
Yeah.
going on.
Okay. What about other family members of yours that you have some kind of contact with?
I just have an identical twin.
Okay. And how often do you talk to him?
I talk to him once every other day or so.
Oh, yeah?
Actually.
Does he live in the same area? Or
No, he's up in New Haven now. He
Okay.
just started a residency up in New Haven.
Okay. Any other close family friends on your side? Family members, extended family members?
No, that's pretty much it.
That's
Just
pretty
the
much
four of
it.
us.
Okay. Sarah, what about your parents? Are they both alive still?
Yes.
And together?
Yep.
Okay. And where do they live?
They're up in Central PA.
Okay. How often do you talk to them?
I talk to my mom probably every other day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's the American way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so Jason was telling me that she's trained to
Yes.
do stuff with Alyssa.
Yes.
How did that come about that she got trained?
When we were planning discharge from Mount Washington, they required either us to have nursing in place in order for her to come home, or to have enough trained members, family members, or designated people in order for us to have a plan of care for her.
Mm-hmm.
So nursing wasn't quite coming along as far with like the state programs and things. So
Mhm.
they allowed us to discharge her home with 3 of us trained. So mom came to the hospital, got trained, got signed off on everything similarly
Mm-hmm.
how Jason and I did.
And this is most concentrated on the trach issue, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Airway.
Yeah,
I get the feeling it's not very common for them to send babies like her home without
Mhm.
nursing care. So, yes, we kind of lucked out. I guess they felt that we were capable enough to take care of her.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right. What about other family members on your part?
So I have 2 sisters and a brother.
Mhm.
Sister and brother live up in the same Central PA area. My other sister lives in Portland, Oregon.
Okay. Do you talk to any one of these any more than the others?
The Oregon one probably more than the other. She's a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't typically participate in any of Alyssa's care.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm really just talking about, how much contact you have
Mhm.
with them, just like for support or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're good resources too. Like my brother was just finished med school, so
Oh, yeah?
it's just he was very
Yeah, like
helpful.
So he knows
Going
everything.
on. Well, he pretends
Of course.
to.
Yeah, right.
I don't think med students really know as much as they think they do.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Other important family members of yours that you have much contact with? This covers them?
Yep.
Okay. And what kind of an area do you live in? Is it like a neighborhood or a
Small townhouse community.
Okay. And so do you know your neighbors?
A bunch of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone. I mean, there's probably.
There's 85 townhouses in
Yeah.
our
Right.
community. So, yeah.
But you have some neighbors that you do know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, because of Alyssa's particular care needs, you can't leave her with them.
No.
They're not trained or anything. No.
No.
Okay. Do you like your neighborhood?
Yeah.
Okay. What about friends of yours?
Okay.
Just on your side, do you have any?
We have a ton of friends.
You have a ton of friends?
Yes.
Do you have anybody who, best buddy of some kind?
I don't know that.
Probably your brother.
Well,
Brother, okay.
Yeah. We have a lot of close friends, I'd say. I don't know that we have one, best bud.
Okay.
We have kind of a couple group of friends that we call like our Howard County friends who are all married and have kids.
Mhm.
And we have our city friends that were, most of them are college friends.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
They're in like they're like just getting married now. So we're the first to have
Yeah.
a kid
Those
from
are your
that
dinks,
area.
dink friends.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Double income, no kids.
Yes.
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 All our yuppie friends, yeah.
Mhm.
So
But what about Sarah? Do you have a BFF?
Yeah,
Who's that? Who would that be?
that's my friend Sarah. Her name is also Sarah.
Yeah.
She's
With an
up
H
in-
or without?
Without.
Oh, there you go.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's why we're different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where is she?
She's in Central PA.
So, is your contact with her mostly by phone and
yeah.
text and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. BFF. Okay. All right. What do you guys do on Sunday mornings?
In the fall, watch nothing but football, but I'm sure that's gonna be less. As she yells at me to take care of Alyssa.
Just train Alyssa.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, she's gonna be an Eagles fan. So.
Oh. All right. And
So actually, what do we do on Sundays? You mean?
yeah. Sunday morning.
Well, we have nursing in the morning, so we kind of do whatever we want to do. We take personal time. If it's, cleaning the house, which sounds exciting, grocery shopping. I got to go to the pool this weekend for a little bit before our nursing left for the afternoon.
How
So that
much
was nice.
nursing do you get in a week, or how's it organized?
So Monday through Friday, we have nursing until 6 p.m.
Starting when?
So we
Day
have-
shift is like 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
And then we have night nursing from 10 to 7.
Okay.
And then on the weekends, we have night nursing from 10 to 7, and then day nursing until 2.
Okay.
So 7 to 2 p.m.
All right. So it's a lot of hours
Yeah.
in the week. How do you like that?
It's helpful.
Yes.
I don't know that we're huge fans of having strangers in our house. It really depends on the type of nurse it is, and that's just a big battle that we've always had. When I don't know if you're familiar with the nursing, at-home nursing, but it's tough to find good nurses. And what I've kind of found out when you first join a company, you get what's available. So they're not usually the best. So you kind of have to fight with them to keep getting more nurses in and trying to replace the poor nurses with nurses that you feel comfortable leaving the child at home with.
And what about stability? Can you get, if you find a good one, can you get that person to come, or are you constantly dealing with lots of different people?
We have lots of different people, but we have some consistent ones. The day nurses, we basically have 2 or 3 day nurses at this point, so they come 2 to 3 or 4 times a day. The night nurses, there's more like 4 of
2 or
them,
3
I
times a
think.
week, did you mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, okay. Jason, do you work outside the home now?
Not at the moment. Technically, I'm an hourly employee. I was a chemical engineer. I worked on software and simulation engineering. But I kind of took the chance to pull myself away from it.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing okay. We saved money beforehand, so we're not too terribly hurting for money right now. And I'm kind of using this as a chance to try and start my woodworking business.
Oh, yeah?
Playing around with that right now.
Yeah. Okay. And you can do that from home?
Yep.
That's the idea about that. Sarah, do you work outside the home?
Yes.
What do you do?
I'm an IT supervisor.
IT supervisor. And do you like your job?
Yeah.
Does it pay big bucks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sugar mama.
What?
I said she's my sugar mama.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, tell me about services that you guys get. Alyssa probably has a whole raft of doctors.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let me think. Who do you have to deal with most often?
I'd say I don't know if it's most often, but the most important ones we go see, and it's actually very convenient. We see both their GI and their pulmonary doctors at the same time, and they have a satellite office over at Hanover, over by Arundel Mills. So it's very convenient. There's kind of the problem where she has the most problems. So the fact that we can see them together, they're so interrelated anyway that they can kind of bounce ideas off each other. So we see them once a month.
Okay. How do you like the GI?
I love both of them. Yeah,
Love
she's-
both of them?
Great, yeah.
Okay.
We have an interesting relationship with the GI doctor. She's pretty scatterbrained, but our personalities work really well together,
Okay.
so we tease each other a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, and then you have other doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in general, how are things going with them?
I mean, They're going really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's progressing very nicely.
Okay.
I think when everything started, we fought pretty hard to not have her traked, but there wasn't really anything around. No way around that. She ended up having to emergently be traked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think ideally we wanted to see it get it out sooner than rather than later. You know, you kind of want things to get fixed.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to guess, it's still going to be another year and a half minimum that she has it. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
but
we have to work closely with her ENT,
Mm-hmm.
which we're okay with right now.
if
If we have a defined problem with him, then we may end up getting a second opinion and
Okay.
going to somebody else. So far, we're okay.
All right. What about early intervention? You're already enrolled in that?
Yep.
And who do you get?
So our main contact is Miss Peggy.
Is she here?
Yes, she is.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so she told us we could trash talk her a little bit.
And what do you think of Peggy?
Peggy's great.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
No, Peggy's great.
Okay.
She's a big advocate for us.
And
which
what
is
does
awesome.
Peggy do?
So she's been working on. She started off working on a lot of the feeding issues, which we've kind of turned back on a little bit. She's always had some food aversion, putting anything in her mouth. She went 3 months without eating anything because she was only 3 pounds when she was born, and the major thing was that aortic coarctation, and they didn't want us feeding her because they were afraid she didn't have enough blood supply to begin with. So they didn't want to worry about having that blood supply go into your gut as you're feeding. So she went 3 months without feeding, and you lose all of this feeding skills. She had the cleft lip and palate, so she basically just stopped, and she would just clamp her mouth down anytime you tried to put anything in her mouth. And she's kind of reverted back to that a little bit, and they're worried about her potentially aspirating when she feeds. So we really are just giving her taste, and it just hasn't gone so well with that. I blame Peggy. She should have done a better job with it.
Okay.
He's kidding.
Just kidding.
And who else do you have from early? This is early
And
intervention.
and so on top of that, she's also doing language skills and
And occupational therapy.
yeah.
So you have a speech language pathologist.
We're working on that. We're going to transition to a lot of doctors are pushing for us to get speech support as well.
So what's Peggy's background? Do you know?
I do,
OT?
but
Occupational therapy.
Peggy, you want to help us out here?
No, she's not here.
Occupational therapy
Hmm.
is my understanding that's her.
Does she
main-
know anything about little kids talking?
She has resources to ask if
Yeah.
she doesn't know. She knows a lot,
Mhm.
but she's always asking for. Well, this idea didn't work, so she kind of goes around and asks her coworkers and whatnot. What do you think of this? Do you know anything about this situation? So we've tried a bunch of different, ideas for improving her language skills. We're doing sign language with her. She's going to be bringing in some assistive technology. Yeah.
So, to your knowledge, has Alyssa ever seen a speech language pathologist? Like in the hospital or
The
something?
Hopkins doctor was she? I think she
she's
was a speech
technically one.
pathologist. Yeah.
Okay. So you think Peggy might be an OT?
Yes.
Okay. Any other people that you're getting through early intervention?
Yes. We have a lady named Diane who does PT
Okay.
with Alyssa, and is actually going to be discontinuing after August because she's just doing fantastic.
She's
with it.
thriving, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be discontinued. Okay. Continuing. All right.
And they're going to replace her with a speech pathologist.
Oh, they are?
With infants and toddlers, the speech specialist is
Yeah.
going to come once or twice a month. We get to meet with her, so we're not quite sure what's going on there.
Okay.
But
We'll start. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about, does Alyssa have a regular pediatrician, or does she does?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you think of that person?
She's fine.
Okay.
We don't involve her in many things other than like the standard shots
and stuff, yeah.
pink eye type of stuff.
Right, yeah. Because you've got all these specialists for all
Yeah.
these
Right,
other things,
right.
yeah.
We tend to just say to the specialist, send her pediatrician notes, and she doesn't really chime in on suggestive care
Yeah.
because
I mean, she's very good at what she
Specialist.
does.
Yeah,
It's kind of,
she's a generalist.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Do you guys get any financial support?
we have medical assistance through the state of Maryland
Okay.
that pays
Alyssa
for it.
does,
Yeah.
How's that going?
Now that we have it, it's great. We technically were only supposed to have. That whole system's a mess, as I'm sure you're aware. It took us a while to get it. I think we're only supposed to have it while she was in the hospital. We didn't know about it. We should have signed up for it as soon as she was born. We didn't sign up until November, which is part of the reason we didn't get nursing right away. It was just a huge drop ball on Maryland's part with their case manager. Other than that, Maryland was great for us. And then that's technically supposed to go away when she's out of the hospital. So she was on Social Security when she was in the hospital. They dropped us, which means medical assistance should go away, but it hasn't. So it's just kind of, what's happening here? If we lose that, do we lose nursing while we wait to transition to the state program? It's interesting.
They'll send you a bill for about $4 million.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Can you think of anyone else who should be on? Did you see what I was drawing here?
We also do outpatient
Okay.
OT and PT.
Okay. Why?
It was something.
She needed a lot of intervention in the beginning, and we were doing that once a week, and now we are going down to
Once every
other week.
Okay.
You can
So-
see that it's not quite the same thing as
not the
the
same
help we get
structure.
from the in-house support where they're teaching us to do things. But the fact that we're involved when we go there and seeing what they're doing, we continue to use that when we come home. We think it's worthwhile still. Or it was. She certainly progressed a lot, and whether that was from going to Mount Washington in addition to what we were doing at home, who knows? But it was, we weren't paying for it, so why not?
Okay.
Our insurance got to.
Insurance, yeah.
Yeah, they love us.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll see how long we continue that, because I'm really not seeing as much of a benefit of it now. But it certainly helps. at the time.
Okay. All right. So I've got the outpatient OT and PT. Anything else should be on this picture?
We have in this other doctors. We have a very strong advocate for our family, who's our NICU and part of the NICU follow-up program, which is worth noting, I guess.
Follow up.
We have an attending who sees her. What is it? Every 3 or
I think it's 6 months. It might
yeah.
be 3 months,
It
I don't
changes
know.
as she progresses.
Yeah.
But she's one to quickly write a doctor's note for anything, whether it be. She absolutely needs to have speech. If you want me to write a prescription for it or however they would do it, I will do it. We had problems when Alyssa had a PICU visit. She was calling their attending and giving them her opinion about how that went and things like that. So she's a very strong advocate for our family.
Okay.
She also has a star helmet. I don't know if that needs to be mentioned on there, but when she was trach, she was on her back for 2 weeks without them allowing her to move. And when you're that young, the head was so malleable that the back of her head was very flat.
Yeah.
So she still wears that.
Okay. How's that going?
We really liked how it rounded out the back of her head. Maybe not the top part of this. It's a little flatter than we would have liked. She hasn't grown her head size in the last 2 months, so it hasn't done anything. So in the summer, when she gets sweaty, Sarah doesn't like it anymore. She wants to get rid of it.
I'm over it.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
over it.
So when you look at this picture, what do you think?
Keeps us busy. She keeps us busy.
It's a lot of people.
We have a lot of support.
You have a lot of support from your families and friends, it looks like. You also have a lot of professionals you're dealing with. And if we do early intervention right, we would not complicate your life by adding too many extras, if we do it right.
Okay.
Okay. So let's now go through your day, okay? And how does your day start?
Sarah wakes me up when she gets up.
Well, before we get actually into how it starts, what are your main concerns for Alyssa and your family?
Okay. We want Alyssa to be able to live as normal of a life as she can. So I don't know how realistic that is. I think it's much more realistic than we initially thought it was. But we just want what's best for her, what can help her get to where we think she can get to.
Okay, and so when you look at how she is now and your desire for her to have as normal life as possible, what are the things that you're mostly thinking need to improve or develop or something like that?
I think feeding is a big one.
Yeah.
Feeding?
And
Okay.
Which-
speech.
Feeding, speech, and then getting the trach out so that we can drive in the car with her without having somebody in the back, so that we can not have night nursing, so that we can just, have the baby monitor and wake up when she lets us know, that kind of
Mhm.
life of
Yeah,
the,
more normal
yeah.
parenting kind of
Yeah.
life. Okay.
Normal.
Yeah. All right. So how does your day begin?
So we tend to sleep in a little bit. I definitely tend to sleep in just because if something were to happen with the nurse where they call out, a lot of times we don't get replacements, so I end up taking the shifts they miss. And they tend to be the night shifts, so I try to keep myself awake enough so that if that does happen, I'm awake and able to watch her as long as I can. Because since Sarah's working full time, I try not to, if that were to happen, I try to stay awake till 4 or 5 a.m. and then let Sarah get up. Ideally, at 6, she can start working.
So this is when there's not a nurse there.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And how often does that happen?
Every other Saturday night and randomly throughout the week, I guess.
It might happen once or twice a week
It
during
could,
the week.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it could be day shifts, it could be night shifts. It's
Mhm.
just never really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very unplanned.
Yeah, we actually fired one of our nurses last Saturday. I walked in on her sleeping again.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, she was our Wednesday, Friday, Saturday night nurse. They filled the Wednesday shift, but it took a long time initially to even get the Friday, Saturday nights. People have lives too. They don't like working Friday,
Mhm.
Saturday nights. So see how long that takes to replace.
So if you have to stay awake, you also are then in charge of Alyssa. Well, there might be a nurse there during the day, right? So can you
Yeah.
catch up on sleep during the
Yeah,
day?
so we allow the nurses to sign the other nurses' timesheets. So we tend to sleep in a little bit
Mhm.
and let them kind of go over what happened in the midnight shift, and then
Yeah.
we just talk to the new nurse when we wake up about
Okay.
how things are going.
Yeah. Okay, so when the morning starts, how does it start?
I'll go in and check. I don't know what
Yeah, I
Sarah's
do that
routine
too.
is. I'll get up and just walk into her room, talk to the nurse, check in on her. She's, half the time she's sleeping still.
Okay. So you get up and talk to the nurse.
Yes.
Okay. Alyssa's still asleep?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
She sleeps from 10 to 7, 8-ish.
Mhm.
And then her biggest problem's her vomiting issues. And she's more likely to vomit in the morning because all the secretions that have built up overnight.
Mhm.
We basically just tell the nurses, just let her kind of hang out in the crib, read books to her, let her play with her toys. She's standing up and cruising along furniture now, so that's all she wants to do. So, I might walk in and she's just standing up at the crib kind of
Okay,
looking
so
around.
she will stand.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. And can she cruise in
Yep.
the crib?
Yep.
Okay. How does she get to standing?
She pulls herself up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So she's doing it really well. When we talk to Diane, she's doing it exactly how she should be learning how to do it. She'll get on one knee and kind of pull herself up.
Mhm.
She's
Okay.
doing well with it.
One knee. And did you say that she has toys in the crib that she likes to play with?
Yeah, so I know you're not supposed to put anything in your cribs, but I feel like we have a little bit of a special situation where someone's always watching her. So she has
Mhm.
some stuffed animals in there. There tend to be a ring or maybe a little book
Rattle.
or a rattle or something in there that she can kind of play with.
What does she tend to go for?
Her medical equipment.
She gets for her medical equipment? Yeah. Well, what is the medical equipment that she can get to?
So she has in her crib, we have her on a trach collar, so she's got a little mask on. When
Mhm.
she's downstairs, she has an HME that's connected to her trach and a little green tube that connects the oxygen to her. And so she'll rip that off. She's a little stinker now, and we'll look at it and be like,
Yeah.
throw it away. Like she
Get
knows
your
she's
reaction.
doing it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Rips off the tube. Okay.
And her suction catheter, she's a big fan.
She'll sit there for a half an hour and just play with that thing. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh
but
yeah.
But not doing any damage
No,
to it.
no.
Okay. All right.
No.
You just have to get a new one.
You do?
Well,
they're disposable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
they're
it's
supposed to be
not a big
sterile,
deal.
so you don't introduce any kind of bacteria or something
Yeah.
into our tray.
All right. And what about the actual toys? Has she shown any interest in them?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Her favorite toy right now, it's not in her crib, is this little stand
Like
toy.
play table.
Yeah, play table. There
Okay.
you go.
Probably.
All right.
Musical play table.
All right. We'll
But
talk more.
And she loves her books.
Okay. So we'll talk about those when we talk about wherever it is that she plays with those.
Sure.
That's probably at playtime or something like that later on. Okay. So at this waking up time, she might be standing. If she's awake, she might be standing,
Yeah.
moving along there, maybe playing with the stuff she's not supposed to be playing
Right.
with. Mhm. What kinds of sounds is she making?
She doesn't make a whole lot. That was one of our concerns before her palate surgery. We have a speaking valve where she can make sounds, but if
Mhm.
that's not on, she doesn't do that. Mostly, it's just her kissy, like.
Okay.
Really cute.
Kissy sounds. All right. And what do you think is likely to happen about her talking or communicating? Let's
Like,
call
how is
that,
it gonna
in the-
progress?
in the next 6 months? What are you hoping for?
Well, we're hoping to get her to do a little more communication, signing with us, really like pointing towards objects that she wants.
Okay.
We're working on a few key signs, but
Mhm.
we're trying to learn as much as we can so that we're signing as we're talking.
So you guys also want to learn more signs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Parents learn signs. Okay.
Yeah, we bought a whole set of
Signing time.
signing time,
Mhm.
baby signing time,
Yeah.
videos and note cards and whatnot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay, so if you go in and she's awake and cruising along, what happens next?
She probably smiles at you.
Yeah, she definitely
Yeah?
smiles. She's a very
She gets
smiley
big-
girl.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
she's very social.
How does that make you feel when you walk in and she smiles at you?
That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. And then what happens?
So we let her kind of hang out for a little while. I'll go downstairs and make some tea for myself. And
She'll let you just leave. She doesn't mind if you walk out.
yeah, as long as there's someone in the room.
Okay.
If she wakes up and there's no one there, she kind of flips out and
Mhm.
will start crawling or kind of cruising along looking for somebody and crying.
Mhm.
But the nurses are in there.
Yeah.
So we let her kind of do her thing for a little while, just because if we were to move her downstairs and jostle her, she's much more likely to throw up.
Uh-huh.
And then her tube comes up, and we're really working on getting the inflammation in her throat down, which helps with her speaking. And, it'll help with moving along with the trach and capping it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we let her hang out in her crib for an hour or so. She normally gets tired and then takes her morning nap for about half hour to an hour and a half, maybe.
Okay, so she'll stay in her crib for about an hour
Yeah.
in the
yeah.
morning? Mhm. Okay. All right.
Unless we have people coming over, like any of the services,
Mhm.
and then we'll get her downstairs or take her to the doctor's appointment. Like, we can get her out of there. We're really, the main goal right now is to try and limit her vomiting.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so there are a number of things that she is doing, some things she's not doing yet, even at this waking up time. On a scale of, and who's usually, are you usually the one who goes and kind of wakes her up because you're getting ready for work, or how does this work?
We let her wake up on her own time.
Yeah.
We're not sticklers for any kind of schedule right now.
Right.
We don't have nursing from 6 to 10 p.m., so we like her to be awake then, so we can play with her. So she usually falls asleep at 10, and then she wakes up when she wakes up.
Right.
If we have to go somewhere, I guess it depends on which one of us is ready, and we like to let the nurses know what's going on, and they help us. Like, well, if she's not awake by 9:50, let's wake her up and
Mhm.
change her and whatnot. So the nurses tend to do a lot of that too.
Okay.
But I'm usually the one that is the first to check in on
You-
the nurse and Alyssa. Whether if I'm
You're
getting-
usually the one, yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
usually am.
Yeah. She
So
wakes up
if I'm
first.
working from home, then I'll pop in as soon as I wake up. If I'm getting ready for work, I'll pop in as I'm getting ready, just to check in. We kind of go over what's happening for the day, the schedule, if she has a doctor's appointment, when to get her ready by, if she needs a bath.
Mhm.
Like, we talk about all those kinds of things. How did she do over the night?
How
Yeah.
often do you get to work from home?
Usually 2 days a week.
Oh, yeah? Mhm.
And then I have flexibility with my work that if I need to work from home, any of the other days I can.
Yeah.
My work has been awesome with flexibility and allowing me to be off whenever I need to be, and
That's very good.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fantastic situation. It's the best
Great.
as it can be. Yeah.
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 Okay, so between the two of you then, on a scale of 1 to 5, how do you like this waking up time? With 1 being terrible and 5 being great.
I mean, I'm comfortable 4 or 5-ish.
Yeah. I would like to see her getting downstairs sooner.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
is something I'd like to see, but it's fine how it is right now because she needs to have that time to kind of work up her secretions and
Mhm.
so she isn't throwing up.
Right.
But I would like to see her downstairs
I got it.
sooner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how do you like waking up time?
4.
Yeah, that's fine.
4.
That's
4?
fine.
Okay. And what comes next?
Okay, so once she's
So
done with
after
that
her
nap,
first
where
nap,
she's
yeah.
ready to go downstairs, we'll we can help the nurses. We don't have to carry down everything, but we do have to take her oxygen compressor. So we have to bring her medical stuff down, and we'll carry her downstairs and bring her into our living room area where we have all her toys. And the
Mhm.
Toys R Us explosion that happens when every family member comes down and brings her another toy and whatnot. So that's
Yeah.
all there for her to play with.
Okay.
So,
Is this going to be playtime now?
yep,
Okay. So just give it a name. Playtime.
most of her day is playtime.
Okay.
Playtime and sleep time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the medical stuff has to come down, and then you're in the living room, and there's a whole bunch of toys in there. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where do you usually put her?
So we have these we'd gotten in the past these mats for Sarah
they're-
when
it's
we
like
got
a
a
play mat.
treadmill. They're gym mats basically.
Yeah.
They're like the interlockable mats.
Right.
Sarah had the genius realization that we should put them down, and she has something softer to play on.
Mhm.
So we have hardwood floors in our whole second floor area,
Mhm.
and there's a little carpet in front of the couch. So she has the mats and then the carpet area that's kind of her sectioned off area where, she likes to crawl everywhere, but she's still attached to a feeding tube or feeding tower with the NG tube and her oxygen compressor that's
Mhm.
connected to her trach. So we try to kind of keep her in that area.
Yeah.
I think the nurses, we let her roam a lot more freely than the nurses do.
Oh,
I'd
mhm.
like to give her that ability to crawl around and
Mhm.
explore. The nurses, some of them are lazy, some of them just don't want to deal with getting up and down and chasing her around. So they kind
Mhm.
of keep her. If she starts running away, they pick her up and then move her back to the center of it. It's a battle.
Yeah. So you want the nurses to encourage her moving more.
Yeah.
Yeah, independence.
Independence in moving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exploring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so how do you said she crawls?
Yep.
On hands and knees, do you mean? Or
Yep.
yeah, okay. And is that working well for her? Is she pretty
Oh, she
fast
likes
with it?
Yeah, she's
Oh, yeah.
making that cute
She
little
gets like double
slapping
speed.
sounds.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Okay. But she does she pull herself to stand in the living room too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the couch.
On the couch.
Yeah, so
yeah.
there's
Or-
a couch
or
or
at
table.
her little play table.
She pulls herself up on her oxygen compressor.
Mhm.
Yep.
She loves to crawl to us and pull herself up on us.
Yeah. Okay. And when she pulls to stand, does she let go even momentarily, or is she keeping?
No, she lets go. She usually makes sure she has one hand
Mhm.
touching something, and she will transition back and forth. Like this is her table, and the couch is over here. She'll make sure she reaches over there and then comes across.
Yeah. Mhm.
She's close to kind of jumping across without holding on to things, but she's
Mhm.
not quite there yet.
Okay. So close to taking a step.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll just have to wait till Sarah has to go away again for a weekend. That's when she learned how to crawl.
Yeah, I went away for the weekend and I got a video within like 9 hours. of
How'd that make you
Jason's-
feel?
I was proud of her, but at the same time, I was sad that I missed it.
You know why she moved so much? She was trying to get to you.
That's what I'd like to
I know.
think. That's what I'd like to think.
We used to run this program that had kids with disabilities and kids without disabilities. And if a kid ever did something for the very first time during the day when the parents weren't there, we never told the parents.
Smart idea.
Yeah.
Tonight, try blah, blah, blah. So then they come in the next day and said, for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how you felt. Okay, so she's close to taking steps. What about, what does she like to play with? Is this a time that we're talking about books and
Yeah,
Yeah.
the play table?
we try to encourage the nurses to do more reading to her. Some of them are better than others, but
Mhm.
really, I mean, she loves musical toy, anything musical. Even from her time in the hospital, she would just get very quiet anytime they played music for her.
Mhm.
So we've tried to buy some musical toys. She's got a little xylophone that she, likes to play with. We have so many toys that, I mean, Sarah's idea. We try to bring new toys in and pull toys out so she doesn't get so used to each
So
toy.
rotating through
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I guess she hasn't played with her xylophone in a while. She's a little piano.
Mhm.
I bought her this really cute. What is it? It's like a musical board where you touch
Oh,
different
yeah.
things and it plays different songs
Mhm.
or different. It has a little piano built into it.
Mhm.
She's been playing with that a lot recently.
So she likes things that she can operate that make noises,
Yeah.
especially music.
Yeah.
Okay. Sound making things.
If her suction bag is close enough to her, she loves to crawl to that and start pulling everything out of that.
Does she need to learn not to do that?
We try, but she's really cute, so she better get away.
Yeah.
Some things she probably shouldn't. Or create a monster.
But is that some? Are we talking about things that then she's just trying to pull out materials?
They're in bags, so she's not ruining it. We
Oh
just
yeah,
put it
okay,
back.
all right. Sound making toys. So if you were to watch her and time how long she spends with something, what do you think she would spend the most time with?
The play table she's on a lot.
Okay, and what's that? What kind of play table is this?
Fisher Price. It's got buttons
Okay.
that make noises.
Yeah, it's
There-
the one that's got all the stuff on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
everything,
and
yeah.
it's about like chest high to her.
It has
I think.
4 buttons that are like 4 colors and like a circle, triangle, diamond, and square. And if she hits it, it says like square, square, and then the diamond says die, 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 die. I don't know if she's trying to tell us something. But
So, does she spend the most time at it actually making the things, make sounds?
Yeah.
Actually using it?
yeah, it just like her piano when she was little. She'll touch it and make sounds. She might stop, and as soon as the sound stops, she'll go back to it and try to make it start playing sounds again.
Good. Yeah. What about smallish toys? How is she with her fingers and her hands?
She has this wooden ark that has a lot of different animals that are probably about this big.
Uh-huh.
That she loves them, and then we'll put them in a container and she'll shake the container and then she'll pull them out, dump them out,
Mhm.
play with them individually, clap them together,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. So
Great.
She's getting better at. She gets pick things up with her index finger and her thumb. She's getting a lot better at releasing them. She used to just kind of like shake her hand
Yeah.
to have it fall out. Now she'll drop it. We're working with her to drop them in
And
and
buckets.
she kind of does this too now.
Oh, yeah, now she's
she
throwing
takes her
away.
things and just kind of tosses it out if she doesn't want it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Maddie's.
She's doing it on purpose.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
If she starts actually eating cereal and Cheerios and whatnot, Maddie's gonna start liking her a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, when you said that she's picking things up, she's picking them up like that, or is it like this?
think
She
it's-
can
it's
do
both.
this. She
Yeah.
does this
Yeah.
more, but she's starting.
Starting
to
to do
be
that, yeah.
refine her skills.
Yeah,
there, at
and
least.
she also can release things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Jason made her a what is it
Little
with the
pegboard.
one
Mhm.
of those peg toys, and so she likes to pull them out, put them back in.
Well, we're working
Toss
on
them
putting
over her
back in.
shoulder.
Mostly, it's just dump them all.
Yeah.
Pull them out.
Yeah. Do you feel like she's fairly coordinated or fairly uncoordinated, given how
I'd
young
say
she is?
coordinated.
Yeah, I think for her age, she's
Yeah.
probably a little behind on her coordination,
Yeah,
but
but
she
for her-
does pretty well with
Yeah.
it.
Okay, all right. When you think about this playtime, what you said with the books, you'd like to get the nurses to spend more time with books with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least read to her at least once a day. I don't need to be doing it all the time, but it's nice when I come and check on her to see her reading with them. She loves it.
Mhm.
You can have a book out and she'll read it, and when you finish it, her first word is more
Mhm.
signing. And she does that very often when you finish a book. She
Mhm.
goes more. In fact, the other day when Diane was here, we were reading a book with her, and she finished it. She goes, more. She then patted the book, and then she patted Diane, like, read me, you know,
Oh, yeah.
more.
So it's good communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to see more of that. She gets a lot of enjoyment out of the pictures of the books right now. And it's definitely a good thing for development.
Yeah.
The more reading she does.
Okay, so more reading. And she signs more. Do you know other things that she actually has signs for?
Yeah, she's really close to saying dad.
Mhm.
I think she said it once or twice. She actually mouthed hi dad the one time, which is really cute. She
We're working on mom.
yeah, so the main one's working on is
And-
dog, mom, more.
All done.
All done, which she might
We're
be
not
starting
sure
to
if
do.
she's doing that or not.
Kinda
She
look
kind of
like
does this like
Yeah.
flailing thing.
Yeah.
And we've seen her doing that more and more often, but it's not in an appropriate scenario where she should be all done.
Right,
so I'm
yeah.
not exactly
She may
sure
just
what
be
she's
practicing.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what the sign for play is? Yeah. Which sometimes when the kids, because they can't do that,
Yeah.
they go, "Nah," that. Okay, so
That's
it's
a
play
good
or
point.
what?
That's a
we
good
haven't
point.
done that as much. So,
Yeah.
like, Diane and Peggy do play more often.
Mhm.
I don't. I should do it, but maybe that is what she's
Yeah.
doing.
And we know music.
Music.
Too.
Mhm.
Yeah, we know a lot.
You
more
know
than
it,
that,
but
yeah.
does she?
We're working on it.
Working on
We
it.
try to do more music.
She certainly understands mom and dad. She might not sign as much as she comprehends them. You can tell.
So if you say,
I can go,
Yeah.
all right, you know, and she'll look
Yeah.
around for
Mhm.
her.
Do you use speech too, or do you just
Yeah.
use the signs? Usually?
Normally I say it along with it,
Yeah.
but if
Mhm.
you can, when I've tested her, like where's
Yeah.
my, you know, I do it silently,
Yeah.
and she looks around.
What are
for
you
it.
using for the dog?
Maddie.
Just patting
yeah.
the leg. Okay. All right. Okay. So I've got that she's already signing more pretty well.
Yeah.
And you're working on more consistent use of mom, dad, all done, music, dog.
I feel like there's one or two more in there that we do a lot, but one of the things we're trying that was a recommendation from when the speech did come by for the meet and greet, basically, is to sign. We basically want to immerse her in it. So, excuse me, sorry. As much as we can understand, we should be signing so that she can kind of associate, you know, pick up what she can here and there.
Mhm.
So I do some more signing than those 7 or 8 that we
Right.
really are
Yes.
focusing on.
Mhm. So that she's in a signing environment.
Yeah.
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 Mhm. Yeah. It's hard to do when it's not the natural language
Yeah.
for the people. Yeah. Okay. When you think about her play times, right now I'm sort of thinking of the morning one because it's the first one that you mentioned. What would you like to see her doing 6 months from now that she's not doing now?
Probably walking around, toddling.
Yeah.
Okay, walking, that's up there. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would like to see her communicating more. And you know, it goes back to what you asked us previously, but you know, telling us what she wants, asking for help, getting whatever she is interested in. We've heard that the terrible twos can be terrible if they don't know how to communicate what they want and why they're upset. So that the goal for me is to be able to understand why she's upset because she can communicate to us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And right now you're thinking that signing is the first step.
Yeah, we're gonna work with the iPad where she can kind of talk to us in sentences. It's a neat little app. They showed it to us once that she's gonna get a copy of.
So you have already.
We haven't gotten it yet.
No,
We're
but
gonna-
you've decided that that's,
Well, that's
a tool
what-
you're going to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Okay.
idea is here are 3 different things. You know, we're gonna put the speaking valve on her. We're going to work with sign language. We're gonna work with assistive technology.
Mhm.
Let her kind of develop what she can with those. See which one really fits. Start focusing on that.
Mhm.
Eventually, you know, the speech is gonna pass that, and she'll just start talking normally.
Mhm.
But you know, whatever we can do to help her communicate, we're
Mhm.
gonna try.
Okay, great.
And
Good.
I'm thinking too, with 6 months down the road with play, we're hoping that she won't be on her oxygen anymore, so there'll be one less wire. She'll
Mhm.
have a little bit more freedom, which means then she might be able to go outside more
Mhm.
and kind of
Freedom of the house
get
too.
get outside of the living room.
Uh-huh.
You know, because I mean, there's a lot of space there and there's a lot of things to do, but I mean,
Yeah.
for me, that'd be boring to do every single day.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
Give her a little more experiences.
So move beyond the living room, and that will require her to be off oxygen.
Yeah, we
It gives her more freedom.
Yeah.
With that. You
Yeah.
know?
she does really well on the oxygen. We don't have the order to have her off of oxygen, but we can test her, and we don't care if she just has her HME and is crawling around the house a little bit. Her stats are fine. We check them.
With the nurse, they can't necessarily do
they're
that.
not allowed
Right.
to.
Yeah.
So we have a sleep study scheduled for the early September, where hopefully she'll do well with that, and then be able to discontinue some of her oxygen. They might just say PRN as needed,
Yeah.
or just at night or something like that, which would be really nice.
And it's the sleep study that determines that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've been told.
Yeah.
See.
So the neurologist is in charge of that part?
No, it's pulmonology.
Oh, it's pulmonology.
Well,
Yeah.
still?
they're the ones that wrote the script to get the sleep study.
Yeah. We don't have a neurologist assigned to Alyssa.
Somebody in the sleep study is going to analyze it and then get back to the other doctors.
Okay.
on this. I don't know who it is.
Okay. What happens after the morning playtime?
Like after she's downstairs.
Yeah.
She'll normally take a afternoon nap, so we can tell she's getting tired. She'll start like kind of scratching at her face.
Okay. Tell me about meals, given that she's tube fed.
Right.
Okay.
So right now our orders is only for stage 2 single foods. Like we tried a couple of them. The only one she really likes so far is in the sweet potatoes, and we're allowed to do a small taste up to a half a teaspoon.
By mouth.
Yeah.
3 times a day.
3 times a day.
We'll taste 3 times a day. Okay.
She's really been fighting us recently, so Sarah and I made the decision to kind of limit that to about once or twice a day, maybe. Just to kind of keep it we're trying to keep it as positive of an experience as we can. And once she gets it, once her palate was fixed, she's swallowing very nicely now. The problem right now is just getting the food in her mouth.
Okay. So she's resisting even getting it to her mouth.
Yeah,
She clamps
she'll
down
pucker up on us, yeah.
and not let the spoon in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we put a little bit on her lips, and she kind of smacks her lips a little bit, and then we're trying to, she's slowly starting to open it again. But
Why do you think she's fighting it?
From talking to the doctors and our support groups, there's always a medical reason. Usually, they say the kids are fighting it. When we had her palate surgery, they looked at her throat, and it's just very chronically inflamed. So if I had to guess, having to swallow isn't her favorite thing.
Okay. So whether it's thoughtful or just kind of automatic, because she knows it's going to hurt.
Is she can't tell us this, but
no, I realize,
Yeah.
But that might be why she's just
it might be
preventing.
Yeah, talking to our pulmonologist, they've had kids who've had similar situations, and they're 6 and 7 years old, and all they eat are fries and ketchup. They're just very picky. So it may be a long.
Yeah.
We realize it's going to be a long battle for that.
Okay. How does this make you feel that the difficulty in feeding her?
I think we've come to.
It's frustrating, but,
but
we
we're-
accept where she's at right now.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's the next step? What would you like to work towards in 6 months with her eating?
Ideally, we want to see and make sure she's not aspirating when she's feeding. So the goal is to get her where we can give her enough food where she can get in front of the machine and they can do the x-ray video, make sure she's not aspirating without putting her in front of the radiation for too long of a period. So she can't do that right now. So that's the next goal, is to get her to that point. And then I think if we can get her feeding, get her into some sort of, I know Mount Washington has a very good feeding clinic where once they're at a point where they are close to feeding and they think that they can make at least great gains the next couple of weeks, we can get her into that. And it's an everyday thing for, I think it's a couple weeks.
I think it's like 6 weeks. 6
But
weeks.
the purpose of that service is to get her doing what?
Feeding on her own.
Accepting.
Yeah, getting most of her food through mouth.
By mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So that's the goal. Whether that's going to happen in 6 months or 3 or 4
Yeah.
years, but that's sooner the better.
Okay.
To get that tube out of her nose. The doctors are really fighting. Some of the doctors really want her to get a G tube. They had to use a mesh for her umbilical repair because of all the lung issues, and we still think she's got a couple hernias there. So the
So another-
pediatric surgeon doesn't want to put a G-tube through there because that could mess with that follicle repair.
Yeah.
So now she has the NG tube and she's stuck with that for a while.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
the sooner we get that out.
Is it the NG tube that's causing the throat inflammation?
It can be. It might be.
I think it causes her to vomit sometimes.
Mhm.
If
Oh,
it-
which then
causes
you
the
have to put
inflammation.
it back, and it could irritate
It's
her.
a
and
big
she'll put it
circular.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're very closely related.
Yeah.
Pulmonary GI. It's hard
Mhm.
to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so for her feedings by tube, though, who does those and how often and how does that
She
work?
has a lot of problems with large amounts of food being in her stomach. They tried bolus feeds at the hospital, meaning 30 minutes, here's your whole food.
Mhm.
They tried to compress those back to an hour, hour and a half, and she would still vomit a lot. She's now continuously fed, 17 hours a day. We're working to try and make that window smaller. We tried compressing 2 of those hours into 1, and she vomited and aspirated, so
Okay.
it's no good. We tried cutting it back by just increasing every hour just a little bit and giving her an extra hour off. The goal there, reducing that enough where during the day and playtime she won't have to be on
Mhm.
the feeding. It's one less tube that's kind of
Mhm.
dragging her around as she's
Right.
moving around.
Okay. So are you still hoping to be able to, I think the word you're using is compress the feeding time, so
Yeah.
it's not continuous?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We just have to let her grow enough where her stomach can handle larger amounts.
Mhm. Stomach. Nothing that you can really do except wait, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't want to push her too hard where it can cause additional problems.
Mhm.
She has enough problems vomiting. We don't
Yeah.
need to introduce more.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, so then you were then saying, well, so is there a meal time for her?
I mean, no, not really.
Yeah.
We've been tending, or I've been tending to do it because I'm kind of in charge of it. Giving her food samples either around lunchtime when I'm eating
Mhm.
or around 6 or 7 before
Yeah.
or around when
Mhm.
we're eating dinner as
Yeah.
well.
But it's really just like a 3-minute.
It's supposed to be 5
It's supposed
minutes,
to be, yeah,
Mhm.
a 5-minute. Let's see if what she'll do today, and
And usually she's just clamping up and,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can get her to open her mouth, and then when we get the spoon close, she starts to close down. So sometimes we'll be able to get it in there and get 1
Yeah.
or 2 little bites. But
Mhm.
I mean, she used to do it great.
mm.
She's
So if you were to rate I realize we're talking about like a 3-minute thing.
Yeah.
But if you were to rate that on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being terrible and 5 being great, how would you rate it?
1, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not very
Yeah.
good.
Uh-huh. Well, it's not. Yeah, I don't want you to rate what she's like, but what's it like for you that time of the day?
I mean, I get frustrated that
Yeah.
she's not able to. Well, that I'm not able to help her, progress with that.
Yeah, it's sort of a basic thing, isn't it? You think as a parent you should be able to feed your kid. Yeah.
if she's
Mhm.
successful, it's a 5. I mean, it's great.
It's
and
a
she,
huge-
she has
yeah.
had success,
Yeah.
but then she reverts back. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, then you're about to say that nap comes along, right?
Yeah.
Where does that happen?
We keep her in the living room. We have a little snuggle puppy thing
Mhm.
that she's almost grown out of, but
Mhm.
she still works. If the nurses always put her in that, if her nap runs a little later, the weekends I guess the nurses aren't there anymore. We can put some couch cushions on the floor and she needs to be kind of slightly elevated for the whole reflux
Mhm.
issues.
Yeah.
But she'll sleep
and
on
her
the floor
continuous
there.
feed,
Yeah.
So, because she carries around so much baggage with her.
I call them accessories.
Accessories.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Michael Kors. Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing like that.
It's a lot easier just to not to have to move her to some other kind of
Yeah.
location. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And how well does she nap? By that I mean how much?
She's
does
great.
Yeah.
She's a good sleeper.
Yeah,
Mhm.
half hour might be the shortest, and that's probably because Maddie barked at a squirrel or something.
Mhm.
But maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours is a good
Oh, yeah?
afternoon nap for her.
And during the week, this is usually your home and you're not, right?
Right.
Oh well, sometimes you are.
Sometimes I am.
That's right. Yeah. And what do you guys do while she's napping?
You know,
The nurse is usually watching her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they'll play on their phone or whatnot at that point. But
we're
no,
doing whatever we want.
we're not like sitting over the nurse's shoulder a lot while they're
Mhm.
there.
No.
So I'll be working in the garage for the most
Mhm.
part.
Okay.
Most part.
On the weekends, if she naps, one of us kind of hangs out on that same floor,
Yeah.
whether it be in the living room or the kitchen,
Mhm.
or we'll set up the baby monitor. We've done that a handful of times,
Mhm.
but typically we don't.
Yeah.
It's-
So during the week, you might go to the garage where you're working on your. Is that where your woodworking
Yep.
stuff is happening?
Yep.
Yep. And what would you be doing?
If I'm working at home,
Yeah.
I'm in the kitchen working.
You work in the
On
kitchen.
my computer.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you get remote access to your people's computers?
Yeah.
Or not? You can.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Checking on their screens.
Yeah.
Well, they have to give me
Yeah, they have to give
approval,
permission,
but-
right?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So when you think about nap time on a scale of 1 to 5, how 1 being terrible, 5 being great, how well do you like it?
5.
Yeah.
I think we extremely lucked out with her sleeping. A lot of babies that are in the NICU don't know day from night with all the alarms and whatnot, and she's always been a great sleeper since we brought her home. In fact, I think it helped us because all those noises she's used to sleeping through, the only thing that really wakes her up is if Maddie's sitting right next to her and starts barking.
Yeah.
UPS guy knows not to ring the doorbell anymore, and she sleeps really well.
Yeah. Maddie,
Maddie.
with a D
Uh,
or T's?
D's.
D's.
Yeah.
And it's a girl, dog?
Yes.
And
Surrounded by girls.
does she not bark at the UPS truck's sound?
Sometimes she
Yeah.
does.
Have you heard this theory that that there's something in the engines of those trucks? Yeah, that just drives dogs nuts.
She barks anytime someone comes to the door. It's her house, and she wants to let us know that there's someone coming into our house.
Uh-huh.
So we were bad with her when it was just the 3 of us. Come home from work. Oh, my cute puppy dog wants to say hi. We get on our knees, let her jump up and give us kisses. So now when Peggy
That's
and
what she
everyone
does,
comes
yeah.
in, she jumps up. We're really fighting to get her to not jump up, but it's
No,
almost a
if
lost
people
cause
don't
at this
like
point.
that, then you don't want them in your
Right.
house anyway.
Right.
Oh.
Peggy's great. Diane she doesn't want to jump up on her. So that's why we're discontinuing PT services.
There you go. That's the best
Not
reason I've
true,
ever heard
not
of. Okay, after nap, what happens?
More of the same,
More
basically.
Playtime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is there anything about afternoon playtime that's different from morning playtime?
Not really.
She might be less inclined to vomit, so that she might take more risks with being more physical, I would think. But
I mean,
Do you think she's inhibiting some of her movements so that she won't just stop herself from
when
vomiting?
she learned to crawl, she did a really good job of protecting her trach when she rested.
Mm.
So she would go down and she would do
put
it
her
in a
arm
way
here
yeah.
so that she wouldn't crush her trach.
Yeah.
She knew that would make her cough and potentially vomit.
At this point, it's really like she's resting up against the couch. It's just high enough where it doesn't really affect it. So
Mhm.
I don't think there's a whole lot that she's doing right now.
Mm.
But she's more likely to do her super crawling in the evening. But it might be because we're home. We're both home.
Yeah.
And it might be just a different energy in the house.
It's
I don't
also she
know.
doesn't care. She's going to tug her thing over if we're not grabbing it. She
Uh-huh.
doesn't care that it's attached to her. She's gonna
Yeah.
crawl and it's gonna snap off her oxygen, and her NG tube tower is gonna fall over.
So is this I realize you want to get that thing out, but does she have to learn how to move without pulling it out?
I haven't put that onus on her. I think that's more the nurses and ourselves moving
Just-
them along with her.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
kind of following her around like you would follow around a normal baby.
Mhm.
You just happen to be pulling equipment behind her.
Mhm. Yeah. So adults have to protect it, or whatever
Yeah.
you're saying.
Just
Okay.
like you would protect her from grabbing a light switch or
Mhm.
an electrical
Socket or something,
socket.
yeah. In every family, there are the hours from hell. What are the hours from hell in your house?
She is such a good baby. The only time she's upset is if she's vomiting, you put the NG tube in, or if she's exhausted and you're trying to put her to sleep. She
Mhm.
doesn't want to fall asleep. So
Mhm.
she will kick and I would say scream because she doesn't scream, but she does her
Right.
silent screaming.
Yeah.
I think her risky hours are as soon as she wakes up in the morning. Those are her most risky.
But I wouldn't call them
wouldn't
like
call 'em-
hours from hell. It's The
Now
frustrating
it's-
hours, what I think you're asking about, like where she's troublesome.
Yes, for the parents.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's really when she's trying to fall asleep and she's fighting it, and
Is that fairly often in a week?
yeah, every time she's trying to nap, doesn't. You can tell she's tired. She needs a nap. She
Yeah.
doesn't want to go down for it.
Oh, so this is at nap time too?
Nap time, bedtime.
Ah, okay.
She really doesn't want to miss anything.
Yeah. So, do you guys usually dictate when nap time should be? You sort of try to get her to settle down for a
I
nap?
think the nurses kind of do that
Yeah,
for the most
I
part.
haven't
don't they?
cared about a schedule.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, if they don't get a nap at this time, they're super fussy later. I'm like, well, the nurse is watching her, so if she wakes up in the middle of the night, she wakes up in the middle of the night. It's really, we're still
Yeah.
sleeping. So
But it's also one
yeah.
of those things that she'll get fussy if we're trying to put her down for a nap and she doesn't want to.
That's what I'm asking about,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's-
So sometimes you do try to put her down because
Yeah.
you think,
I am of the opinion if she's fighting it too much, let her play. Let her play longer.
are you of that opinion?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
all right.
Because if she gets really upset, she'll throw
She'll
up.
throw
She'll
up.
force
So
herself.
we'd rather her
Push
Yeah.
her
be
too far.
overtired than
Yeah, throwing up
vomiting.
is the worst.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, if you have an afternoon playtime, what happens next?
Normally, then, so I guess it depends on when the nurses leave, whether it's a weekend when they leave earlier or when we come home at 6. We like to do things with her, and it's hard to drag the nurses around sometimes, especially in the weekends. Like, hey, we're gonna go to our friend's house, but
Oh,
now
so
we're
you
gonna
meant
have to go back.
do things with her out of the house?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Um,
Well,
and-
let's talk about these outings then.
Okay.
You do have some?
yeah,
Yeah.
we try to do them a lot.
Yeah, okay. And where might that be?
So we try to take her to our games. Sarah's playing softball right now in the city, so we'll bring her into that.
You're playing softball?
Yeah.
We try to be active in sports leagues as well.
How do you like softball, Sarah?
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often do you do it?
Once a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What position do you play?
Whatever they put
Wherever
me
they
in.
put you.
Yeah. we
Like
have,
over there.
We have
Yeah.
like 4 designated women's spots because it's a co-ed team.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's either catcher, second, right field,
Oh.
right center.
Well,
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
One of those 3.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun. I don't go out there to, boost up my stats. I kind of just go out there to be social. So
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's why it's on this
Yes.
support thing. And you said you guys try to be active in sports leagues? Is that what
yeah,
you put it?
so like we used to play a lot. We play kickball in the springs in a fun social league. We
Yeah.
used to play football on the weekends as well. I play a lot of broom ball, which is
Yeah.
kind of ice hockey without skates, which is a lot of fun. I do very well with it, so it
Yeah.
gives you that. What word am I looking for? Escape.
Outlet
from
or
things,
something, yeah. Mhm, yeah.
And you play tournaments with that
Yeah.
and stuff like that. He's pretty active in the broomball community.
Okay. And you like it a lot then, right?
Yeah.
Since you're active
It's
a
a
lot.
very good exercise too. So.
Yeah. Okay, good. Is there anything that that you did before Alyssa that you're hoping to be able to get back to?
Going to the gym.
Yeah.
Probably going to the gym.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
We don't let Alyssa tie us to the house. I think I'm more outgoing with that than Sarah.
Yeah.
But
are.
we've been taking her to the pool, and I'll bring her in the pool. I'll just hold her. I'll make sure I stay away from the kids that are splashing around. As long as her trach, her stoma site doesn't go below, because that could be a big problem.
Mhm.
But we're very careful when we're there. But
Mhm.
we like to not let that hold us back.
Mhm.
Take her into the city, let her friends play with her, let her meet the other babies.
Okay. I'll just put all of this in the category of outings then.
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
Okay. So, what about transporting her in the car?
So that's the troublesome thing. Like if the nurse cancels during the day and I'm watching her, I'd love to take her places, but you have to have someone in the back with her in
Mhm.
case she starts vomiting.
Yeah.
She throws up and the vomit goes down into her stoma.
And so, what does a person have to do? The
You're
one
just
looking after
sitting
her.
back there. We
If she,
have,
but if she throws
Suction.
up,
yeah, we would
Suction.
suction her. Yeah.
Yep. And of course, they also have to be aware of her airway. So
Mhm.
if her trach were to come out, I mean, she's only done that once where she's
Mhm.
pulled it out, but somebody has to be watching her 24 hours a day
Yeah.
and be available to tend to her.
Yeah, so you can't be driving and have
Exactly.
her right there. Okay.
Exactly.
So, are these nurses required to go with you if you want to?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, all right. With nurse, usually. Is that true?
Like if it's a doctor's appointment, yeah, I'll be driving and the nurse will be back there.
Yeah.
But if we're going into softball for the city or something, one of us will drive and the other one will sit back there with her.
Mhm.
No nurse during the outings.
Yeah.
Because it's invasive.
Yeah.
We just,
Yeah.
I'd rather do things with our family than with
Yeah.
some random nurse.
Yes, okay.
yeah.
I got to go to the aquarium the other day when
Mhm.
the nurse called out and her mom and niece happened to be coming down.
Mhm.
So it's fun to be able to do things like
Yeah. So when she's in the car, when Alyssa's in the car, what does she do?
She plays.
that. Yeah.
She falls asleep sometimes.
Mhm.
Rarely. We're not sure what's going on at night. If she's tired or if she's starting to get afraid of the
might
dark.
be afraid of
with
the
Sarah.
dark.
Yeah.
We went through the tunnel
Mm-hmm.
the one
She
day and she
freaked out
started
as soon as we
crying.
got in
Like
there.
she's not a cry type of baby at
Mhm.
all. And then as soon as we were out, she stopped crying. And then so we're starting to wonder if she's afraid of the dark.
Hmm.
So
There's always a
last
light on
night-
in her bedroom for the nurses.
Yeah, she's
so.
never in the dark, is what
Right,
we're realizing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm.
To be determined.
To be determined.
Not
yeah.
a huge issue.
No.
Yeah. But she likes to play, or she'll like to, I don't know, if
Content to
I'm
look out the
singing, she
windows.
likes to
Yeah.
kind of just listen. And
She seems to respond.
yeah, she responds to me
Mhm.
singing. Not so much Jason.
No, I
but-
try not to.
Yeah. we've kind of have that rule in
Agreement.
us.
Yeah.
Unspoken rule, yeah.
Yeah. Let's not ruin the trip with
That's
Jason.
right, that's
Yeah. All right. And is she unable to make any sounds because of her throat being inflamed and all that?
She can. You would have to have the air go past the
Oh,
vocal
and she's got,
cords. The
yeah.
trach prohibits it. They're not going to upsize her trach, so as she grows, you're going to start having more and more leakage, which
Mhm.
is where the air bypasses the trach and goes in and out of her mouth.
Yeah.
When that happens, you'll hear more noises, but
Mhm.
for the most part, we have to actually put the valve on that allows
Right.
her to breathe in, and then it exhales through her mouth
Mhm.
so she can make noises.
Yeah. Okay. And is that on all the time?
No,
Or
no. We're working up to a half hour at a time, once a
Okay.
day. The problem is she starts coughing with that and throwing up with it,
Oh.
so
Mhm.
we don't do
Lots
it
of
as
things result in vomiting.
Yeah.
As you
Yeah.
can see the pattern.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know why I put it in the outings part, but it's where you did mention that you're working towards increasing the amount of time that
Yeah,
she's got
I
the
mean,
valve on.
she's gonna have to have it on full time and be capped with it to get the trach out. So we
Mhm.
have to be able to get her to breathe with it normally and not throw up when we have it on.
Yeah, without throwing up,
Yeah.
right. Mm-hmm. Okay. When she is around other people, what is she like?
Very social. She
Yeah.
loves looking at other people, playing with other people. She's a little timid for the first maybe 5 to 15 minutes
Mhm.
to try and just kind of
She just
adjust
needs
to
to
her
observe
surroundings.
her surroundings first, and then
Mhm.
after that, it's like her personality kicks in. It's
Yeah,
Mhm.
we can hand her off to
Very-
anyone, and
yeah.
she's content.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's got tubes hanging out all over her, right? Out of her nose.
Yeah,
one of her
if she's
hairs.
not feeding, it really is only about to here, and we'll close it off and tuck it into her shirt.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's not
okay.
a big deal. It's just kind of taped to her nose,
Oh, right. Okay.
and then she just has the trach with the tube to the oxygen bottle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And do the people you know do they handle her? Is what I'm trying
Yeah.
to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is she like when you're holding her? Is she a cuddly type person, or is she a squirmy? Is she stiff? Is she
She's
floppy?
just relaxed, looking
Yeah,
around.
she's
Yeah.
very comfortable.
Yeah. Mhm.
She'll like to play with your face or
Mhm.
grab anything that's in front of her.
You can really hold her for a long time before
Yeah.
she really starts fidgeting.
hours.
Yeah.
To
Oh, yeah?
hold her.
Hours. She will
Wow.
sit in our laps and just look around, and she wants facial interaction. She will
Mhm.
look you right in the eye. She'll look at everybody. She'll
If there are other kids around, those are her focus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She likes to look at other
Yeah.
kids.
Grab their faces.
Yeah, she's grabbing little kids' faces for some reason a lot. That's like her first instinct is just
Well, faces are probably interesting to her, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And so, what else is she going to do with them?
yeah,
Other than look at them.
and touch them.
Try to get them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What? 6 months from now, when you think about outings, especially to friends or those kinds of not to store, but to other people's houses or whatever, what are you hoping she'll be able to do that she isn't doing now?
I mean, no oxygen would be nice. Having to tote all that stuff around.
But then it's just gonna be different, like when we tote around food with her to eat.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a whole. I haven't given it much thought, but I
Mhm.
don't know that she's not really inhibited by her, medical
Yeah.
stuff right
No.
now. So
Mhm.
it'd be nice if we didn't have to pack the car with her spare oxygen bottle and ambu
Mhm.
bag and emergency kit, but we're just, we have it down to a
So
system
normal,
where it's not
yeah.
hard for us to do that anymore.
Yeah. Okay. She's only 14 months, right?
Yeah.
So even how she can communicate when she's a 20-month-old is still not going to be very sophisticated.
No.
But is there anything about her communicating when on outings that?
That gets down to her telling us what she wants.
Mhm.
And, I would like her to be doing a little more expressive, like pointing at what she wants or
Mhm.
letting us know, hey, I want mommy or I want daddy,
Mhm.
or just let me go play. And that's just the general communication
Yeah.
would be helpful.
Okay.
But she's generally content with as long as she's got something to look at.
Mhm.
So
All right. Has this child's diaper been changed at all at this point in the day?
I would hope so.
Yes.
So how does that go?
She just does not like being put on her back right now.
It's fine.
She
She's fine.
she freaks out sometimes.
You give
Sometimes
her a
she's
toy in her
fine.
hand and she's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was on her back too long in the hospital, so she just wanted to do
she's a
nothing but sit when she
14-month-old.
learned how to do that. Now that she
Yeah.
can stand up, she wants to do
She
nothing
wants
but
to
standing
just,
up.
yeah, she wants to move, she wants to play, she doesn't
So
want to
she-
be bothered.
Yeah.
with-
So when you
with
try
it,
to
yeah.
change her diaper, is she kind of
A
squirmy
little
and
bit,
like that? Yeah. Okay.
But if you give her something to play with or put a book in her face, she'll lay there.
Mhm.
She'll be all right.
Okay. She's squirmy, but she can be
Yeah. Distracted.
distracted. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you can get her on her back without too much squirming, do her legs kind of frog out like that, or are they tight, or are they just kind of
A little froggy.
what other kids look like?
Yeah, I don't think she has any hip problems where they're still frogged out too much, but
Mhm.
she'll lay there.
Yeah. What's the name of your PT?
Diane.
Diane. Yeah. Has she ever said anything about her muscle tone?
She said it was fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She
Little
didn't have
chubbers.
The way you guys have been talking, it sounds like it must be
Yeah.
probably fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean she had issues earlier, but she's kind of grown past them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. In the interest of time, let me just skip to a few key
Sure.
times. So, dinner preparation time for you guys. Who usually does that?
He does now. He's a very good stay-at-home dad.
Okay, good. All right. And does that mean you actually really cook?
I guess-
Yeah. If I'm in charge, I throw in like chicken fingers or
She
something.
has it.
He's doing
Yeah.
some fancy stuff.
Okay. And so, is this on the days when you're home? Do you do the cooking even when she's home?
Yeah,
Sometimes,
usually.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We order out sometimes, but yeah,
Mhm.
for
Okay.
the most part we.
And what's Alyssa doing?
So she'll either be playing over in her area, or sometimes we'll just bring her into the kitchen. So if she's still feeding, we'll bring the tower over and let her, bring a toy or two,
Mhm.
and she just crawls around
Yeah,
the
or
kitchen.
put her in her high chair and give her some crayons or markers or
What?
something. Crayons, sorry.
Crayons. Yeah,
Crayons,
I know
you
that's
know.
one of those words. Yeah. Well, since you brought them up, tell me about these crayons.
She likes to take them all out of the box. I think we have like 24, I think, about.
Mm-hmm.
She'll
As
take
no
them out
markers.
and then she'll kind of just stab the paper for the most part.
Okay, so she holds the crayon like that.
Yeah, she'll.
Yeah, and just-
She holds it like
She-
this
she
sometimes
does a
too.
series
she
of
holds
those.
it better than I do. Like
Yeah.
four
She holds
finger
it like this, like a regular.
grip. Yeah.
Well,
like from
sometimes
her
it's
four
kinda like
fingers.
this.
It's like she'll hold it like this.
Oh yeah, and like 4 fingers like that.
Yeah, and kinda
I mean,
just-
that's how I do it. So.
Yeah.
I can't find it. I
Um,
can't find a network connection
Emerging pencil grasp. Okay. And so she makes marks on the
And
page.
she does a lot of just this.
And scribbles?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Nice. Okay. So are you saying that she can kind of entertain herself?
Yeah.
At that time?
Yeah.
And you can get your cooking done? You
Or
a
I
nurse is
or I
watching
might
her?
be playing with her.
Yeah.
Or, I mean.
But
Mhm.
we
just
can let her
depends.
sit there,
Yeah.
you know, play around with her toys.
Mhm.
She's, you know, generally content to keep herself busy.
Okay.
Put her on that table and show you she's content for like an hour.
Really, at that play table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We usually keep the TV off during the day, but in the evenings after we, you know, when we
Like
sit down to
7
eat,
o'clock we put
turn
it
the
on.
TV on. She'll watch it sometimes, but
Mhm.
she'll continue playing.
Okay, so, yes, now we get to dinner itself. You guys managed to sit down together and eat dinner?
On the couch.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and TV might be on?
Yeah, usually turn
Yeah.
Jeopardy on or something.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. You're a nerd like me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you say that she watches it, you mean she'll turn around and face it. Does she seem to react to anything on it? Have you ever put kiddie shows on?
I mean, yeah, we watched
We've tried.
the Turtle's Tale or something the other day, so she was fascinated with
Yeah,
it.
she
and
watched
staring
like
at it.
at least like 85% of it.
Yeah.
We were surprised.
Mhm.
But if it's like one of our shows, she's not gonna stare.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
it's like a singing show. Then as soon as they start singing, she turns around and will watch it.
Oh, yeah?
And then when they're done, she'll go back to
Oh, yeah?
playing. She really likes music a lot.
Well, it's great that she's entertaining herself at that time. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you just have to put yourself down if we have to suction her.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's her? Is it very obvious that she needs suctioning? The noises and all of
Yeah,
that.
you'll hear the raspy noise in her trach.
Yeah.
Or she'll cough pretty hard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything about dinner preparation time and your dinner time that you would like to have be different?
I would
would-
like her to cook once in a while.
Alyssa?
Yes, we'll go there.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would like I would like to see us sitting down at the dinner table eventually and having Alyssa there with us in her high chair, even though she's not eating. But I'd like to see more of like I mean, not necessarily super formal, but like
More of a
standard-
sit-down dinner?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm fine with what we do now. But
We'll talk about that.
yeah, no, I'm sure we'll
We'll
get
get there
sit-down
eventually. I
dinners,
mean,
but it-
because we need to teach Alyssa manners eventually, and you know that kind of thing. That's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, it is true that if you want something to happen, if you get into a pattern of doing something one way, it gets hard to change it later on.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's kind of more of the if we are sitting at the table, it's kind of hard to tend to her. But if we come up with a plan to put her in her high chair and then get her up there and then she'll entertain. We go out to dinner and she does fine when we
Mhm.
all are sitting there.
I think what
You
Jason's
know,
trying to
so.
say, so long as it's not at Jeopardy time, because.
Well, maybe we can work into sitting at the table but still watching Jeopardy. I mean, then we can slowly get that off and.
you know, basketball
Yeah.
game's on, it's gonna take priority.
Yeah, no,
But you know, we have such little time for entertaining ourselves, like doing the things that we like to do. That, you know, if we want to watch Jeopardy, it's not, you know, it's not that big of a deal to
no.
me.
Let
You
me
know,
ask about
eventually we'll
that.
get
Do you
there.
guys have enough time for yourselves individually and together?
If we have nursing, yeah, because they can watch them.
Yeah.
So right now, would you say that you do have enough time for yourself and for yourselves?
It's certainly not what it was before we had a child.
No.
So, but
Yeah.
we can make time. We might not have a ton of Sarah and Jason time,
Mm-hmm.
just because, you know, our schedules. Sarah,
Is that okay for now?
I think we're okay at
Yeah.
the point.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I have to mentally make Sarah time because I have a lot of guilt leaving her when I'm free
Yeah.
because I am working.
Mm-hmm.
So, like this weekend, I made it a point to go to the pool just for 2 hours.
Mhm.
The nurse was there, Jason was home, wasn't a big deal. And it was nice. It was very nice. So, I'm gonna work on doing that more often.
I hear you, so that's why it's coming.
And maybe
right
start going to Zumba again on Saturdays. And
That's a good thing.
yeah.
What about for you? Do you feel like you have enough Jason time, as she calls it, Sarah time? So do you have enough Jason time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. Let's just talk about, shall we talk about bath time or bedtime? We only have time to talk about one of these, so.
Doesn't matter.
Bedtime, I guess.
Okay?
Sure.
How does bedtime work?
We'll carry her upstairs,
Mhm.
so we might do it a little beforehand, but she needs to get her apnea belt on. We'll change her into a onesie,
Mm-hmm.
and
Where does the apnea belt go?
it wraps around her
Around
chest.
her chest? Okay.
Yeah. And that's just a precaution. She's never had any apneic episodes, which is good.
She hasn't?
Nope.
So all the sleep, like the sleep test and all that?
They'll check for that too. It's really, there's a debate as what's the best way to monitor a baby who has a trach.
Mhm.
Because, you know, if no one's watching it, the apnea alarm's only going to start beeping after she hasn't taken a breath for 20 seconds, or if her heart rate started to elevate or drop. And that's going to be well after she's already aspirated. She has a pulse ox that monitors her oxygen concentration, which we turn on at night.
Mhm.
You know, that might dip, but it's still going to be a little bit of a delay. But it might be quicker than the apnea. So, but it's not going to know. It's not going to tell you if her heart rate's. You know, I don't think it alarms for that. But so there's a debate as to which one is. Which
Have
one
you ever
use.
stopped to think how much knowledge you've gained in
Oh,
16
people talk to
months?
us and like you sound like
Yeah.
doctors.
Yeah.
It's something
It's
that
a lot
we
of information.
feel like we need to do though,
Mhm.
because there are families that what we understand, there are families that just don't even know what their like kids' conditions are called or what the
Mhm.
treatments really are, and they just trust the doctors and the nurses and whatever. And I don't know, it's just our nature to want to have all the information necessary to be the lead advocates
Some people
for
just
her,
get
you know?
overwhelmed and just don't want to
Yeah.
have to deal with
Yeah.
all that information. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we want to understand it too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you have to get her prepared for
Yeah.
bed with all.
So Sarah usually carries her upstairs, puts that stuff on.
Yeah.
We usually have to give her medication around then too, so I'll pull that up. And
How does she get her medication?
through the NG tube or through
Mhm.
her trach. So she really doesn't have a lot of medication, which is great. It's
Okay.
just some acid reflux medicine and some bronchodilator, steroid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll give her that. I'll carry up all her equipment while Sarah's doing that.
And
We
we're
have
reading books or
Yeah.
snuggling or rocking or whatever. And this is all up until the nurse comes at 10.
Oh, okay.
So if I get her down early, then we set up the baby monitors, and then maybe I can like prepare myself for bed while she's sleeping, and I just watch her on the monitors.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, when the nurse comes in at 10, it's a quick handoff. How was her day? And if she's still awake, then the nurse takes over, trying to get her to bed. And if she's asleep, then we all go to bed.
Yeah, and Alyssa, when you do hand off, this is actually true. I mean, the question is valid at any of the transition times, but especially at bedtime, she's fine when it's handed over to someone else.
Yes,
She's pretty cool about
She used to have a little bit of separation anxiety when I would
Mhm.
leave,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm getting into the habit to say goodnight to her, wave goodbye, and when
Mhm.
she waves goodbye to me,
Mhm.
then I know she's gonna be fine. So I leave,
Uh-huh.
and then she doesn't have an episode. If I leave suddenly,
Yeah.
she might get upset.
Oh,
Yeah,
But she also is familiar with most of her nurses at this point
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's great that you guys have taught her to
I mean,
accept these.
she's been around nurses her whole
Mhm.
life. She's always had a random new people come in
Yeah.
every day
Yeah.
when she's in the hospital. So I think
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
used to it, which is
Mhm.
good. She is attached to mommy and daddy, but she
Yeah.
isn't opposed to being taken care of by other people.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
nice.
So when you when you're reading, snuggling, that kind of thing, this is in a chair or something. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What's that time like for you?
Peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it peaceful and okay, or is it like,
Yeah.
come on, get to sleep?
No,
Okay.
it's great.
It's a great
great.
time?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then once you've waved bye-bye to her or put her down,
Yeah.
does she tend to wake up during the night?
Very rarely, I'd say.
Sometimes.
Yeah, very rarely.
She
Right.
woke up at 2 o'clock on Saturday when I was watching her, and I
Mhm.
think she would have went back to sleep, but she saw that I was watching her, so she was up for 2 more hours.
Yeah.
Daddy's here. I'm gonna play with my daddy.
Right. You didn't pretend to be asleep right away?
Yeah, I try and
Yeah,
tried a lot of different ways.
don't give her eye contact.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll go back to sleep.
Is there anything that you think would be nice for her to be able to do at bedtime down the road, 6 months or so, that she's not doing right
I
now?
think we need to work on her like toothbrushing and getting that kind of preparatory work in the way.
Yeah.
It's along the lines of
She won't let us put it in her mouth.
Yeah.
Similar to the food.
Yeah.
She likes to play with her toothbrush, but not in the way she's supposed to.
Will she put it in her mouth herself? No.
No.
she'll put her fingers in her mouth. She used to chew on some of her like teething toys, but I don't think she does a whole lot of that anymore.
Yeah. So mostly she acts like she doesn't want things in her mouth.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Toothbrushing, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd like to also see her putting herself down, like not requiring her to be rocked. Some nurses say that she will be awake and then lay down and go to sleep.
Mm.
But then there's other nurses that she's awake because she's so stimulated and she wants to play and she loves that nurse and she wants to, that she
Mhm.
requires them to then rock her to sleep or read her a book
Yeah.
or whatever. And it's the same with me. Like, I can't just put her in the crib and let her fall asleep because she will wake up, stand up, and like
Okay.
be like, Mom, I want to play, I want to play.
Yeah,
so
she
I
does
have
that
to
for me
rock
too.
her.
So when you're rocking
So-
her, do you rock her until she falls asleep? So then you're just moving the sleeping
Yeah.
body into
Yeah.
her.
Yes,
Okay, I
exactly.
see.
Without her waking
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Let me just ask you two more questions, and then I'm going to remind you of the main things that
Sure.
you guys said. When you lie awake at night worrying, what do you worry about?
The nurses aren't sleeping. I would like, if we didn't have nurses and we just had a baby sleeping in there, every time I woke up to go to the bathroom, or if I woke up in the middle of the night, I would go in and check on her.
Mhm.
And I hesitate to do that because I just don't want to be that intrusive, guy at your work that's checking in on you every time.
You mean checking on intrusive on the nurses?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I worry that, are they going to be sleeping? And then
Mm-hmm.
that starts a whole new can of worms.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't usually have a problem sleeping, so.
But do you have a problem worrying?
Here and there, sometimes.
So what is
it's
your
more
biggest-
internal.
Yeah, of course, worrying usually is. So
Yeah,
what is your
it's-
worrying?
It's probably just, I don't know, that she's getting better.
Oh, okay.
I don't want anything to happen where she's set back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's come so far, so,
Mhm.
and, if she's having a bad day, if she's, like yesterday, she threw up 4 times, which is
Mhm.
very abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that's what I worry about. Is there something the matter? Is she like,
Mhm.
you
So
know,
something like that.
like
something-
medically
Yeah.
wrong?
Yeah.
Like if you hear her suction machine turned on, I worry that she's vomiting. They're not just trying to suck in
Yeah,
her
is she getting the
secretions.
proper care that she needs? I think
Yeah.
it would be something I worry about a lot too. Is she getting care? If he's on watching her, then I don't have a
Mhm.
problem.
Mhm.
No worry at all.
Yeah.
But
But
it's,
with the nurses, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is she getting the proper care?
Mm-hmm.
Are they attentive enough to her?
Mhm.
If I were to go back to work and Sarah's at work as well, is the nurse just gonna set her in a snuggle puppy and leave her there and talk on the phone the whole time, or is she actually gonna allow her to
Yeah.
do what she's supposed to be doing, playtime,
Yeah.
learning to crawl and walk and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
So that's our biggest worry with the nurses at this point.
Mhm. If there's anything you could change in your lives, what would it be?
If I had $1 million.
Yeah.
I wish we could get the nurses we want in here. That's my biggest pet peeve. I get pushback from the company saying, well, if we take this nurse's 1 day away, I'm afraid she's going to be asked to take it off the case. I'm like, well, then we'll get better nurses in here. I want people that I feel comfortable that if something were to happen, they're intelligent enough, have the proper problem-solving skills to be able to do that.
Mhm.
Not yell down, Miss Sarah, her trach came out. I'm like, You're the nurse. You should be able to put the trach back in,
Mhm.
not have me sprint upstairs and undo it, put it back in. Yeah.
I just would like to be free of the medical life with time.
Yeah.
That's my, long-term desire.
Just raise a kid without worrying
Yeah,
about the.
yeah. And I know that
Yeah.
in a normal, lifestyle, there's going to be a whole nother set of worries. I think we're pretty laid back as far as okay, so she got dirty. Who cares?
Mhm.
It's all about perspective, really,
Mhm.
and it's. But that would be nice to just be
Mhm.
rid of the medical necessity.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me go over what you guys have been talking about. These stars here are kind of the concerns that came up in at each time of the day. And then when I'm done, I'm going to ask you to decide what you want as the goals, okay? All right, so your main concerns for her that you said were feeding, speech, and the trach out eventually. At waking up time, things are going great, but it was the first time we were talking about it, so this is where I heard about her vomiting and that you want that to decrease. Ripping, Alyssa sometimes pulling out her tubes, is that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah, she'll grab her NG tube, pull it out.
Yeah. She's making kissing sounds, but that's about it for now, for some obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So you've been working on signing or pointing, and you said you'd like to see her doing those. For you guys to learn more signs so that you can have more of a signing environment for her.
Yeah.
And getting the inflammation in her throat down, and overall just getting her downstairs sooner. Right now you're not, because you don't want to elicit her throwing up.
Yeah.
And then at playtime, it sounded like a good time. A lot of nice things are happening in there with her moving around and playing with toys and so on. This, though, was when you said you wanted the nurses to encourage independent moving, all of them, not just restrict her so much. Alyssa's close to taking steps or walking, so that might be a goal for her. I think you said that later on, actually, Sarah did. Encourage the nurses to read to Alyssa. You've already figured out that rotating through the toys is a good way. That doesn't need to be started. So that she won't be overwhelmed with so many. Is that the deal?
Also, she doesn't get bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same ones, so there's something novel from time to time.
Yeah.
More reading, with books, you said, at this time. Communicating what she wants, especially so that you know if she's upset, why she's upset.
Right.
And you're exploring signing, communication board with the iPad, and as well as it will be speech. You want her off the oxygen. This came up a number of times, obviously.
Yeah.
And moving beyond the living room, so she's not tethered so much to her area. At so-called meals, she's just not letting stuff in her mouth, and so you would like to get her doing that. So you're trying to get her, so I think you were describing a swallow study, weren't you? That she has to get to.
Yeah, they're worried about her aspirating.
Right. Because you want her eventually eating by mouth and then tube out. Nap time, everything's great. Nothing. Sometimes it's hard getting her down, but
but that's relatively normal.
yeah. Afternoon playtime is the same as the morning. Adults have to protect the trach. Oh, this is just that
following equipment around.
Yes, following equipment around, because she can't be expected to understand and all that. It was while we were talking about this that Sarah, you said you want to go to the gym. At outings, everything seems to be going really well, and she sounds like a delightful kid that people like her and she likes them. But this is where you mentioned that we're working up to getting the valve on her.
Yeah, so she could speak while she's, everyday life.
Yes, and until it can be on her, she can't have the
Trach removed.
trach removed. Yeah. Diaper change. Oh, diaper. Oh, it was part of this on this outing also that you'd like to see her pointing or calling mom and dad. Just the communication stuff
Yeah.
again. Okay. Diaper change is fine. Dinner preparation and dinner, everything's going pretty much the way you want it, except that Sarah wants dinner at
Family
the dinner
meals.
table.
Yeah.
Maybe we
It's,
can do it every once in a while.
it says here with candles and wine. Just in case you kind of missed the point there. Sarah wants to continue. She's had. You have been conscious about making time for yourself and continuing
Yeah.
to do that. That's good. At bedtime, getting the toothbrush into Alyssa's mouth
Yeah,
at some point.
nice.
And then Alyssa's going to sleep without being rocked, without needing to be rocked.
Yeah.
And trying to get some kind of control over the quality of nursing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, did I summarize kind of the main concerns there?
Yeah.
Okay, so here is a blank piece of paper now, and this is where I'm going to write down what you actually want to be on the list of goals for Alyssa and yourselves. And don't worry about the order, let's sort the order out.
Okay.
So I just reminded you of the stuff that you mentioned, just to help you think about what might go on this list.
So, goals, any goals?
Yes, for yourselves, for Alyssa,
Okay.
what you want to have happen in 6 months.
Oh, in 6 months?
Yes.
Walking?
Okay.
No oxygen during the day.
No O2 during day. Okay.
Meaningful communication. I don't really care how. Somehow.
Okay, let me go back to the walking for a second. I just
Okay.
realized I'm going to lose track here.
Okay.
At what times of the day would it be helpful for her to be able to walk?
Any of the
during our-
playtimes.
Playtime during our outings would be fun.
Yeah.
Because we go on walks a lot.
Outings. Outside, I'm going to call that something different. Outings, I was thinking about the things where you go in a car, but
Yeah.
sometimes you
Okay,
just
yeah,
go
we
outside.
sometimes we just go
Okay.
outside or go to the walk.
We have a
go on
cute
walk,
little-
go to the park.
Wagon that we pull it around.
Oh,
in.
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then you said meaningful communication, and so you don't care whether it's
Yeah.
pointing on a board or
Yeah.
what it is, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Just so she can express what she's interested in, or you know.
Yeah.
Single words probably in 6 months still, right?
Yeah,
Because she's
yeah.
going to be 20 months old.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what times of the day would that be especially
Playtime.
helpful?
Oh.
Yes.
Anytime.
It is
Yeah,
anytime because it's
anytime, yeah.
communication, but think of the times of the day
Times
where
that
it'd
we
be most
interact.
meaningful.
It's probably in the evening when we're having family time.
Okay, evening,
Yeah.
family time. Okay.
Really help the nurses too, but at this point it's more like when we're all together.
Okay.
You know, it'd be nice if we didn't have as many doctor's appointments in 6 months. It is slowing down, so it might be a realistic goal.
Yeah.
Doctor's appointments, okay?
No more vomiting.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the theme.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look through these notes here and see, you know, it was the stars that I was kind of pointing to as I was recapping. So see if there's anything that you want to add to this.
I don't know if I can read this.
Hey, would you like to borrow my glasses?
I know, right?
Because it's definitely not the handwriting
Yeah.
problem.
Two.
It's,
Oh, okay. There's up to. Sounds as communicating. I don't know what that says. What is that one?
Kissing sounds, so this is
Oh.
making more sounds than just the
Okay,
kissing sound.
yeah.
This is signing, that's
Oh,
pointing.
yeah. That's all communicating.
That's all communicating, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting information in throat down
yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah,
obviously very
that's
important.
kind of related to the
to
vomiting.
the vomiting, okay. Information down.
Maybe so with the getting downstairs sooner and having sit down meals, like those types of things, I think it's just adding more structure to our day, which I know it sounds awful,
Yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
does.
Because we just have to
Then
go
why
with
do
the
you want
flow. We
Yeah,
just,
right?
yeah, we just have to go with the flow. That's kind of just our style of just like, Alyssa kind of has to tell us what she wants to do
Mhm.
as far as like, if she's vomiting a lot, then we're going to keep her upstairs, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
if we try to stick to a schedule, which we've learned from being new parents, is if we try to stick to a schedule, it's not going to happen. Our 4:30 departure on Sunday turned into a 6 o'clock departure, just because of the nature of our lives.
Getting stuff
you know,
together
it's
and
just,
everything.
and that's
How-
we're okay with that.
How long were you together before Alyssa was born?
2007. So
Yeah, so
7 years.
7
yeah.
years. And did you guys lead a very regimented life?
We were really good at being on time. We were really good at that. That doesn't happen as much anymore. But we're okay with that.
I
You know,
I
it's just
like
kind of
to have the unplanned weekends where it's like, oh, hey, what are you doing today? Let's go into the city.
Mhm.
Sarah needs to plan out our weekends.
planner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll put organize days. And the extent to which it happens is for you guys to figure out.
Yeah.
Right? And so if it's not very organized, or it might only be certain time or something like that, that's up for you guys to decide.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
6 months, I'd like to get her to her first basketball game. That'd be fun. Number one, baby.
With the
Yeah,
finger.
Maryland's ranked number 1 right now.
Yeah,
so.
you have like some more experiences.
Well, you mean the
with her.
Terps?
Yeah.
You didn't notice his shirt?
Come on.
I'm a Tar Heel.
Well, that's fine. I'm fine with the Tar.
Okay.
You're number 2.
All right. This was about the nurses. You want nurses to encourage independent moving?
I would like the nurses to be able to focus on what they're supposed to be doing. And they're supposed to be allowing our daughter to, they're supposed to be focused on our daughter, not playing on their cell phones, not talking on the phone, not just limiting what she's doing so they don't have to
Have
get
you
off the
developed a
chair.
checklist for them?
We had it in the past. We never really put it out.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a solution. We won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But okay, nurses focus on their development, on her development.
Yes,
Not
yes,
their
I like
development.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
Alyssa's.
They have some developing to do.
Yeah. This was about walking. You
Walking,
got
yeah.
that. Encourage nurses to read to her.
Yeah, so it's back to that.
Okay. More for Alyssa to do more with books.
Yeah.
Communicating. We've got meaningful communication.
Mhm.
Board of oxygen. Moving beyond the living room. Okay. Get to the point where she can do the swallow study.
Yeah, feeding. We don't have that as
Okay.
a goal. We want
So
her
what-
I just wanted to see her improve. I know that's like a very general term.
Yeah, so
but
if she
I
improves,
just want her
she
to
will be doing
improve,
what? That she's not doing now?
Taking more by mouth.
Oh, you meant feeding by mouth, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taking some amount of food,
Yeah.
to be determined,
Yeah.
food by mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's
Okay. And that's at meals. Yeah. Okay. Tube out. Maybe the nurses about protecting the trach. What about you going to the gym?
Sure.
Sarah?
Don't hold me to it though.
Do you want to make it, see, because over here,
It's just like
where is it?
taking time for myself.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, I think that's the general goal. And whether that be getting a pedicure or going to the gym,
Okay.
you know.
If you were getting some time for yourself once a week, would that seem like it was about right? Is that
Yeah.
too much, too little?
Yeah, it depends what we're doing. Because it's like I don't feel like I need that if we're
No.
doing some sort of activity as a family. Like I have that same like
Oh.
general sense of
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. But
Right.
it's like a
So a fun activity as a family
Yeah.
would somewhat
fulfill that
fulfill
need,
that.
yeah.
And if
Uh-huh.
not, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I'm putting one time a week anyway.
Sure.
Okay. Getting the toothbrush in Alyssa's mouth, is that important or not?
less so than the feeding, but
Yeah.
it's similar to being able to put things in her mouth.
Okay, all right. What about going to sleep without needing to be rocked?
I think that's minor.
Yeah, and I
Minor.
think that'll
Okay.
develop as she gets older anyway.
Yeah.
Or better, because she's going to get heavy.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, I'm not the strongest person in the world.
You know that there's nothing on here for you. Well, I mean, it's all for you in
Yeah.
a
You
sense.
want to get your woodworking business going.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
ideally, it would be nice if I didn't have to go back to work and I could just work for myself. But
Go back to the what kind of engineering, chemical engineering,
Yeah.
and be able to do your woodwork.
yeah,
Develop.
if I could do that as a instead of just a hobby, as a career, I feel like I wouldn't be working and I would be at home with her, which is a plus.
Yeah. Are you any good at it?
I think I'm pretty good at
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
I could show you some pictures later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got a website yet?
That's all. This is very new that we're gonna start this. So yeah, I got my IT specialist here that can help me with it. I could do some of
Yeah.
it too if I
Yeah.
learned it. But
Okay, so here we have this list. Ready? Walking. Alyssa's walking. No oxygen during the day. Meaningful communication. Fewer doctor's appointments. No vomiting. Organize the days. Nurses. Focusing. Taking food by mouth. Sarah, time for herself. And Jason, develop woodworking business. Okay, if this isn't true, but if we could only do one of these, what would it be?
vomiting, inflammation.
Yep.
Vomiting thing, okay. Well, let's keep going though. What's the second most important one?
Taking food.
Yeah.
Taking food. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Communicating.
Yep. Communicating.
Between the nurses and the oxygen.
Yeah, I would say probably the nurses.
And then the oxygen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe her walking.
Sure.
Okay.
This one.
Of course, you guys left your things to
Yeah.
the
Organizing
end,
is
right?
last. Yeah. This one.
Oh.
That's 7.
Organizing's last.
Yes.
That's the one that was on there under duress.
That's right.
Okay, you guys have to tell me which one goes for number 8.
Probably your business.
Sure.
She's being nice to you.
Yeah.
No, because he was silent, waiting for me to just say it, because he knew,
Okay then.
right?
Sure. Sarah could be nice. Right
Okay,
behind me.
that's.
And which is
thank
next?
you.
It's Sarah.
Mine.
Sarah.
And then yes.
You can actually just cross that one off.
No. Okay, that from what two things that conclusions I came to listening to this. One is Alyssa is really lucky she's living in the house that she's living in. That is really clear. And the other is that this list looks like, considering the things that you guys talked about, you know, that she's doing, she needs to do, and that you guys want to do as a family, this would be a great list for starting to work on that. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay.